What is up, guys? Welcome back to another Reckless YouTube video. We're so excited to be starting a brand new series this month called Stop the Cap. It's going to be a great series. We're going to dive into a lot of great topics. So let's hear a little quick message from Todd to start us off.
So I want to take you back to an important date in the history of America. It was on October the 30th, 1938, that aliens invaded America. Now it started in a field just like this. And there was a professor at Princeton University who had been watching the observatory, had seen some kind of activity off the planet Mars just a few hours earlier in the day. And all of a sudden there was this fiery ball that went flying through the sky and landed in a field just like this. And so the professor showed up, and as he showed up, he saw this large metal cylinder, and there was this scratching noise that was coming from within. And over the next few minutes, as first responders and reporters started showing up, all of a sudden this cylinder opened up and aliens attacked the people in that field. As radio reports began to come in, all of a sudden people tuned in and found out that the National Guard had been called in, that now there were sirens that were going off in nearby New York City telling people they needed to evacuate. As it continued throughout the day, all of a sudden there were news reports of other major cities like St. Louis and Chicago that also were under attack. Soon the President of the United States came on the air to let the nation know that they were under attack. Now, as great as that story is, it never actually happened. Aliens really never invaded America, but people that listened in on the radio that night didn't actually know that. They thought that it was true. They didn't know that a producer and an entertainer named Orson Welles had this fun idea to tell a story about an alien invasion to try to attract a bigger audience to his radio program. Many of the audience missed the very beginning when Orson Welles told the audience that this was just a story and not real life. And so they didn't know that it wasn't real life. They thought that it was. And so even though the story was made up, what happened after actually happened. There was panic in the streets. There were people that fled the cities. There were people that actually committed suicide. There were pregnant women that went into labor early. There were prayer meetings that were interrupted by people saying, the nation is under attack. Aliens have invaded. You need to go home and die. People in this all over the nation thought that life as we knew it was over. Now, I believe that story illustrates powerfully the damage and destruction that can happen when we form beliefs and make decisions based on lies. And see, what I believe is that you and I every single day are being lied to. Not about an alien invasion, but I believe that there are things that we are being lied to about that can cause far more destruction than aliens can. There's every single day that there are things that are told to us that we believe about ourselves or about the world around us or even about God that really are the furthest thing from the truth. And when we buy into those things, they actually can cause a ton of damage to our heart and our soul. Lies just like this.
I have no purpose.
And I refuse to believe that I was created with significance and I am loved.
I realize this may surprise people, but God is with me and for me. It's actually a lie. And I believe I don't really need God in my life.
I tell the people that are closest to me I have my priorities straight and I can find my own truth.
I surrender the idea that living for God gives me true freedom. It is clear that God doesn't love me, and no longer can it be said that God will never give up on me.
I have reason to believe that I find more joy in the world than with God, and it is foolish to presume that there is hope.
Now, I wonder what damage and destruction might have been caused to your heart and your soul by believing some of those things you just saw. I mean, what is the implication when we believe that we have no purpose, when we believe these lies about finding our own truth, or that God could never love me, or those things that sometimes creep into our mind and our heart and we buy into and they take root, and the damage and destruction that they cause as a result. We start running away from God because we feel like He would never love us. Or we start believing that what God's intent is for us is actually different or less than what it actually is. And see, the danger is that there are lies every single day that are passed on to us that we believe and we just assume are true. But in reality, if all we did was run it backwards, if we just ran it in reverse, we actually would see that the truth is much different than that.
There is hope, and it is foolish to presume that I would find more joy in the world than with God.
I have reason to believe that God will never give up on me.
And no longer can it be said that God doesn't love me. It's clear that living for God gives me true freedom.
I surrender the idea that I can just find my own truth. I have my priorities straight, and I tell the people that are closest to me, I don't really need God in my life, is actually a lie, and I believe God is with me and for me.
I realize this may surprise people,
But I was created with significance, and I am loved.
And I refuse to believe that I have no purpose.
See, sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of a shift in our perspective of how we read the world around us, how we see things, can make the difference between believing lies that can be destructive and understanding and living in the truth. See, Jesus says He's come that we may find the truth and know the truth, and that the truth will set us free. Jesus has come to lead us out of darkness into the light. See, Jesus' desires is in our best interest, is for our good, is not for us to be led and manipulated by the lies of the world around us, but rather to understand the truth of who He is, that we are loved by Him, that He has a plan and a purpose for our life, and that following and walking with Him actually is the best way to live. So there are lies that you and I face every single day, and we can't stop it. But what we can do is stop believing those lies. And we can understand the truth and the reality of who God is, of who we are, and who He's called us to be. That can make all the difference.
Guys, what a great video. So glad you stuck the entire thing, made to this point. We made this point, don't click it off just yet. We have a couple announcements for you guys. One of them is that we always would like for you to like, subscribe, and comment our YouTube videos. It does a lot for the channel. It does a lot for what we are trying to do as a student ministry for all you guys out there. To the 16th. So if you watch this video beyond the 16th of October, then it's not going to apply. But on the 16th, we are doing our senior night at Reckless. So make sure to be there from 6 to 9 on Sunday, October 16th for that. Also, we have our podcast as usual with our student portion coming out on Thursdays, and always our replay from the Sunday message coming out on Mondays. So just know, guys, bye-bye.